Welcome back to another Warp into War explainer. Listen, if you're a general, a commander, or just a massive hobbyist looking to get that tactical edge, you are going to want to stick around for this one. A literal barrage of articles and reveals just dropped for the highly anticipated 11th edition of Warhammer 40,000. So today, we're cutting straight through the fog of war. We're going to look directly at all the confirmed new and changed rules and break down exactly how they stack up against what we've been playing in 10th edition. If you want a focused look at the grimdark future, you're in the right place.
Okay, let's dive into this. Because, before you can even think about dominating the battlefield, you've got to muster your army, and the very foundation of list building is getting a massive overhaul. Actually, it's starting with a return to a system that you veteran players out there might find very, very familiar.
Right, the first big one, the return of granular points for war gear. Now, in 10th edition, as we all know, war gear was essentially free, right? It was baked right into the fixed points cost of the model. But in 11th edition, specific exceptionally powerful equipment is going to cost you extra points again. Think about it like this. If you're bringing a Tau Riptide, choosing that devastating ion accelerator over the heavy burst cannon, that's going to hit your army's point total differently. And honestly, this is a huge design win. It means the devs don't have to break their backs trying to make every single weapon perfectly equal. You get exactly what you pay for.
Now, hold on. Don't panic just yet. While the new Munitorium Field Manual is adapting to this, they've explicitly confirmed we're not going back to the dark ages of absolute micromanagement. Think the Emperor, right? You won't be spending 1 point per purity seal, and you're certainly not paying extra for a standard bolt pistol. The granularity here is strictly reserved for the heavy hitters, the war gear choices that fundamentally change how a unit operates on the tabletop. So let's look at how this builds into the broader structure of your army. In 10th, you just picked a single detachment rule for your whole army, and that was the whole shebang. Well, 11th edition completely shatters that limitation by introducing detachment points. Moving forward, detachments will cost between 1 and 3 detachment points. This means you can literally mix and match multiple different detachments to build highly customized, incredibly thematic rules for your specific army. And it's brilliant how this system scales. A standard 2,000-point Strike Force game that gives you a budget of 3 detachment points. So you could blow all 3 on one massive army-wide buff, or you could take 3 1-point detachments tailored to specific units, like, say, a specialized rule just for your Phobos Space Marines, combined with another one for your vehicles. The absolute crucial takeaway here is that this prevents those massive 3-point game-breaking buffs from ruining smaller 1,000-point incursion games, because those only give you 2 detachment points to play with. It's just a fantastic balancing lever. Still on army construction, we've got a major shift in enhancements. Previously, enhancements were strictly locked to your characters. But what if you're running a highly specialized detachment focusing on units that don't even have character models? Well, 11th edition solves this with the new upgrade keyword. If an enhancement has this tag, it can be slapped onto up to 3 normal, non-character units. They all count as a single choice against your enhancement limit, though you do have to pay the points for each one individually. This is going to open up some wildly creative synergies for your standard battle line and elite infantry. All right, Section 2, the battlefield. Let's talk terrain and visibility. How your newly customized army actually navigates the grimdark battlefield is getting a game-changing update. For years, 10th edition relied super heavily on true line of sight. Basically, if your opponent could physically draw a line from their gun to, like, the tip of an antenna on your model's backpack from across the entire board, you were getting shot. It made turn 1 deployments incredibly stressful. But 11th edition, it introduces a brand new universal core mechanic called hidden. Under these new rules, if your infantry, beasts, or swarms are standing inside a terrain area and they haven't shot their weapons in the current or preceding player turn, they gain the hidden status. It's like they're effectively camouflaged within the ruins, the craters, or the debris. So what does being hidden actually do for you? Let's read the rule verbatim. When hidden, a model is only visible to enemy units within their detection range, which is usually 15 inches. Guys, this is massive. It means your opponent's long-range artillery just cannot target your hidden vanguard units sitting on midfield objectives on turn 1, unless they literally march right into that 15-inch danger zone. You can deploy so much more aggressively now without the fear of being instantly blown off the board. And speaking of navigating terrain, we have a desperately needed quality of life update for swarm units. In 10th edition, it was always kind of bizarre that a horde of tiny nurglings couldn't flow through the walls of a ruined building, but a massive, bulky space marine could just waltz right through. Well, that oversight is fixed. Swarms now utilize terrain exactly like infantry and beasts. They can move freely through walls and ruins, so positioning your swarms in woods and dense cover is about to become a huge tactical advantage. Section 3, New Combat Mechanics.
Warhammer 40K almost always ends up in the brutal crush of melee combat. First off, let's look at who's actually leading that charge. In 10th, you generally had one leader attached to a unit, right? Now, characters are officially split into two distinct categories: leader types and support types. And the absolute beauty of this is that the new rules let you attach one leader and one support character to the exact same unit at the same time. Just imagine the buff combinations you can stack on a single squad by pairing a primary commander with a specialized support character. It's going to be wild. Now, what's really interesting about this next bit is the introduction of 3 brand new combat keywords added right into the core rules. And these aren't just minor little tweaks. These are fundamental mechanics that will absolutely dictate how you prioritize targets and react to enemy fire. Let's run through them. First up is Cleave. Honestly, think of this as the melee equivalent of the blast roll. If a model has Cleave, they are highly rewarded for charging into massive horde-style squads. For every 5 models in the defending unit, the attacking model gets a set number of extra attacks. This literally incentivizes sending your sweeping, scythe-wielding monsters directly into the thickest blobs of enemy infantry to just maximize the carnage.
Next, we've got surge moves. This basically standardizes a mechanic we've seen sprinkled around in some faction roles before. If a unit with this keyword is shot at, they can reactively push forward, usually rolling a d6 or d3 to move that many inches straight toward the enemy. Talk about an incredible psychological threat. Do you risk shooting at that raging orc mob knowing your gunfire might just agitate them enough to surge straight into engagement range before you even get to charge?
And finally, close quarters. This is a brand new designation for weapons that are effective while locked in the crush of close combat. Now, is this going to replace or maybe augment how the old pistol keyword worked? We'll have to wait and see, but for sure, it streamlines the rules for units that just want to fire point blank right into the faces of the enemy they're wrestling with. So what does this all mean? From granular points giving us way deeper customization, to detachment points totally rebalancing the meta, and the absolute game changer that is the hidden terrain mechanic, 11th edition is shaping up to be an incredibly tactical, dynamic experience. But the real question is, how is this going to change your army's game plan? What do you think of these massive rules overhauls? Are you pumped to hide your Vanguard units, or absolutely terrified of those new cleave attacks? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for joining us today on this Warp into War Explainer, and we will see you right back here for more tactical breakdowns next Saturday.